The quintessential cursed film. Most of us surely remember the story of Carol and the child haunted by vengeful spirits from another dimension. Many claim that the tragedy surrounding this feature film began after Steven Spielberg utilized real skeletons during the filming of the first half, and the same extended until the end of the franchise, carrying a total of 4 deaths. The misfortunes began in 1985, a year before the release of the second film, with the death of actor Julian Beck due to stomach cancer. 2 years later, the unfortunate Wissam succumbed to his untimely demise. He had suffered a debilitating heart attack and a life-threatening septic shock brought on by a severe intestinal obstruction, which ultimately claimed his life. In a separate tragic occurrence, Dominic Doon, the talented actor, who had portrayed the elder sibling of the previously mentioned character, met a similarly grim fate when she was cruelly strangled by her boyfriend at the tender age of 22. Rosemary's Baby, the film starring Mia Farrow, in which a couple moves into a building in New York without suspecting that their neighbors belong to a satanic cult, is surrounded by several controversies, and within them lies the most tragic episode in the life of its director, Roman Polanski. The root of the curse lies in the fact that it was filmed in the Dakota building. The legend states that every person who enters there dies in a horrible way. Initially, the composer of the film's soundtrack, Christoph Komida, died from a cerebral blood clot. But something more tragic happened afterward. At just 26 years old and 8.5 months pregnant, the director Cheryl Tate's partner was murdered by the Charles Manson cult. It is worth noting that years later, John Lennon was shot in front of the building, and the actor Boris Karloff also died while receiving treatment there. After his passing, his spirit surrounded me. The prophecy of the arrival of the Antichrist is the starting point in this film by Richard Donner, and it is hard to believe that the events that occurred during this filming were a mere coincidence. The film actor Gregory Peck was traveling on a plane when it was struck by the lightning, which is not so unusual, but the same thing happened to screenwriter David on another plane 8 hours later. Prior to this incident, the producer was, on the other hand, lucky to have survived a bomb that the IRA terrorist group had planted in the hotel where he was lodging. Special effects supervisor Jordan was in a car accident where a collaborator was decapitated, mirroring scenes in the film. If this information seems insufficient, it is also worth noting that the Rottweiler handler we see in the film was viciously attacked by the dogs, and a security guard was tragically mauled and consumed by several lions while filming on location inside the zoo. The film adaptation of William Peter Blatty's horror novel will make you experience the real-life case of a supposed demonic possession of a 14-year-old child. It is a feature film directed by William G. Only Snails, the title of the best horror film in history. It could also be said that it is one of the productions that drew the most of those paranormal occurrences during and after its filming. It is already the beginning of the song, but the ending had to be postponed due to a fire that broke out in the set of Martin's class, where the only thing that seems to have been affected was Reagan's room, the character of the young possessed girl. Later, the bus ticket for the meaning of the protagonist's mother suffers severe damage to Thorne to the point of recording one of its scenes. Above all, the moments we hear when Corrigan is on the ground are completely real, featuring the actors Jack McGowan and Vasiliki Maliaros. They died during post-production, and it did not end there. As it is reported, there have been up to 8 deaths related to the filming of the movie. The inexplicable phenomena that occurred were so profound that they requested a priest to perform an exorcism on the set to ward off the evil spirit. But the curse ended with the premiere, as during its initial screenings, several viewers suffered from nervous and anxiety-related crises, and some cinemas opted to place several ambulances at the exit to assist the public. The Crow, released on May 11, 1994, was a feature film in which a rock singer was murdered and returned from the dead to avenge himself and his girlfriend, who were attacked during the filming of this Brandon Lee movie. The film's protagonist received a fatal gunshot from a weapon that should not have been loaded, but for unknown reasons was, and it ended the actor's life. This tragedy was preceded by that of his father, Bruce Lee, who was also filming a scene when he met his final fate. Added to this, there were more incidents during the production of the film. A carpenter was a victim of series after being electrocuted. A publicist suffered a traffic accident, and several sets were destroyed by a storm that affected North Carolina. This film, based on a true story, depicts a family's struggle to survive a satanic possession. To the wrath of a terrible and dark force, the most significant events occurred during the filming, and they were reported. According to Intertech, on many occasions during filming, the lights would explode and inexplicable fires would occur. Several of the extras and stunt doubles also suffered accidents during the filming of the scenes related to the possession. Alfred Hitchcock's psychological thriller film, Psychosis, is not only renowned for its highly iconic and memorable cinematic scenes, but it also shrouds a little-known tragic event that occurred during its production. Unbeknownst to many, the double for actress Jeanette Leigh in the infamously chilling shower scene was brutally murdered by a deranged maintenance staff member who had become dangerously obsessed with Hitchcock and the making of the film. The Unknown Dimension, the film produced by Steven Spielberg, was a cinematic version of the acclaimed 1950s and 1960s television series. The unfortunate incident occurred when the renowned actor, Big Morrow, was in the process of filming a scene alongside Maya Daly and Renee, two young children aged 7 and 6, respectively. A helicopter flying at an altitude of 8 meters was struck by a pyrotechnic explosion, causing it to crash and decapitate Morrow and one of the children, while the other, minor, died crushed. The Cannibal Holocaust, a film directed by Italian filmmaker Ruggero, in which an anthropologist travels to the heart of the Amazon to recover a videotape that reveals the whereabouts of some missing journalist. It brings with it a series of controversies that still resonate strongly to this day. Initially, the feature film was banned in 50 countries and classified as a cinematic fraud, as Diodato attempted to sell a fictional film as a genuine documentary. In contrast, the treatment and fate of the animals were grim, with the deaths shown in the film being real. The actors and crew were unaware of this, and after seeing how he killed an animal, they erupted in fury. Ruggero was fined for these actions and sentenced to prison for at least a time.